All right, let's dive into something that can literally make or break a deal, quoting for complex services. We're going to explore how teams are breaking out of those tangled spreadsheets and finding a much smoother path to success, all based on what we've learned about a tool called QuoteX. Let's get right into it. So let me just ask anyone who's ever worked in sales or delivery, does this feel a little too familiar? You're trying to build this perfect, super accurate quote for a big client, but you're just lost. You're clicking through endless Excel tabs, digging through email chains. It's a version control nightmare. It's a really common pain point, and turns out it even has a name. I love this phrase from the source material, the cells of uncertainty. It's that sinking feeling you get when you're staring at a spreadsheet, just wondering, is this pricing rate? Is the scope actually correct? Do we even have the people to do this work? It's where deals go to slow down, and more importantly, it's where your profit margins just vanish. Okay, so let's really diagnose this problem. The whole spreadsheet struggle isn't just about wasted time. No, it creates this ripple effect of hidden costs that touches pretty much the entire business. What's so interesting here is how all these issues feed into each other, creating this vicious cycle. It all starts with those manual, disconnected processes. That, of course, leads to inconsistent pricing. One quote looks totally different from the next. Then you get those little data entry errors that creep in and slow everything down to a crawl. And because everyone's just stuck in their own little spreadsheet world, any kind of real collaboration or smart capacity planning, forget about it. It becomes a total quagmire. But what if there was a way to get out of that mess? Well, our sources point to a solution that was built specifically for this. Let's take a look at the strategic platform that's designed to tackle these exact problems head-on. Now, the key phrase here is that it's built natively on Salesforce. This is huge. This isn't some clunky third-party thing you have to patch in. It lives right inside the system your sales team uses every single day. Its whole reason for being is to bring speed and, maybe even more importantly, accuracy to that entire quoting process. And wow, this just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's a night and day comparison. On the left, you've got the old way. Total chaos, right? Manual, full of errors, and everybody's working in their own little silo. But on the right, you have the QuoteX way. It's automated, it's standardized, and it's built for collaboration. You're basically moving from a frustrating mess to a process that is fast and efficient. So how does it actually work? What's the secret sauce? Well, it all seems to come down to collaboration, getting the right experts involved at exactly the right moments. See, this is totally different from one person being stuck in a spreadsheet. QuoteX is like a conductor for a team orchestra. Look at the handoffs. Angela, in sales, kicks things off. Then Vikram, the solution architect, lays the technical groundwork. Sean, the subject matter expert, comes in to add those crucial details. Then Chris from delivery gives it that all-important reality check. And finally, Shelley in pre-sales turns it into a professional statement of work. It's about teamwork all happening in one place. And for the actual user, all that complex collaboration in the background gets boiled down to 4 super logical steps. You create the request, you add the project scope, and notice you can pull from a library of past projects, which is a game changer. You build out the timeline, maybe using another template, and boom, you generate the SOW. It's all designed to feel natural. And this right here, this is the engine that makes it all go, reusable templates. This is how you get consistency when you're growing. Scope libraries mean you stop reinventing the wheel on every single quote. Timeline libraries keep your project plans consistent. And recards make sure your pricing is standardized, no matter who's building the quote. It's all about building on your own best practices. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but what about the real world? What are the actual results? Let's look at the value, the proof from people who are actually using it, and what the payoff is for the business. Here we go, a quote from a director of delivery. And the 2 words that jump out are configurability and scalability. Now, those aren't just buzzwords. This is a huge deal because it means the tool isn't some rigid box. You can actually tailor it to your company's unique way of doing things, and, crucially, it can grow with you as your business gets bigger. And here's another one from a head of delivery, hitting on that massive pain point we talked about in the beginning, speed. Significantly reduce the time it takes. That's not a small tweak. That's a direct impact on how fast you can sell. Faster quotes mean faster deals. Simple as that. This chart really tells the whole story. You see, it starts with faster turnaround times, but speed without accuracy is just a fast way to lose money. That's why the second outcome is so important.
increased margins. Because your scoping is so much more precise, you're not accidentally leaving money on the table. And finally, you get that consistency from standardized pricing, which just protects your bottom line on every single deal. So who really wins here? Well, the source material breaks it down into this dual value proposition. There's the value for the person using the product, the employee, who gets a tool that's actually nice to use and makes them more productive. But then there's the value for the business as a whole, which sees better margins and can finally do some strategic capacity planning. It's a true win-win.
Okay, I know what you're probably thinking. This sounds amazing, but it must be a total nightmare to set up, right? Well, according to our sources, the path to getting started is surprisingly clear. It's really broken down into 3 logical phases. First, your Salesforce admin gets in there and lays the technical groundwork. Second, and this is the secret ingredient, your subject matter experts build out those template libraries. They're essentially pouring all their knowledge into the system. And only then, third, does the sales team jump in and start using these powerful playbooks. This table really clarifies who does what. The admin manages the system itself. The subject matter expert manages the knowledge that lives inside the templates, and the user, your sales and pre-sales teams, they're the ones using it every day to manage quotes. Everyone gets to play to their strengths. Now for a surprising number, 62. What is that? Well, for any of you Salesforce admins out there, listen up. That's how many custom objects QuoteX adds to Salesforce. Now that might sound like a lot, but here is the absolute kicker. Because it's what's called a managed package, it doesn't actually count against your org's limits. So you get all this amazing functionality without the technical headaches. And that brings us right back to where we started. We began in the cells of uncertainty, totally trapped in spreadsheets. But the journey we just explored shows a clear path out, a path built on teamwork, on standardization, and on accuracy. So the final question is pretty simple. Are you ready to trade all that uncertainty for the clarity and control you need to close deals faster and, well, more profitably? That's all for this explainer. Thanks for joining us.